So, it's the day of the solar eclipse. Let's talk about it, my friends. I'm intuitive evolutionary astrologer and psychic tarot reader Crystal, the crystalline priestess, and today we just have a quick little breakdown of Thursday, the 3rd of October 2024. This is the day of the new moon solar eclipse in Libra. I do have a big, fat, 1 hour long deep dive into the entire eclipse and, you know, the whole energy. We've got pictures, we're going deep in that reading. So essentially, if you want to get a really deep dive into the eclipse, then that is the reading to head to after this one if you haven't checked it out already. But this is just a little daily horoscope to check out how we're feeling. Okay, my loves, so as I was getting in tune for this reading, I cannot tell you how beautiful the vibes actually felt, and I really want to portray to you guys how much it feels like this is an opportunity over this new moon to really close out an amazingly, I'm hearing the word volatile if I'm honest, but an amazingly strong, influential season chapter of our lives. And I'm talking about chapters that run back to 2004, and I actually didn't mention this in my basic horoscope, but I actually didn't mention this in my overall eclipse reading because it skipped my mind. I was thinking about so many other things, but we had the nodes back, I think it was in 2004, in Aries and Libra, and so we are tying up loose ends around times back then as well as now. So this message that I was really having come in so strong, and I was getting literally the song that was playing, the lyrics just before I turned the camera on blew my mind, and it was, I've already forgotten them. They were something along the lines of, she's finally allowing herself to become everything she was afraid to become. And I thought that that was just the most incredibly accurate demonstration of what I think this chapter closing out process looks like and feels like, because it's almost like the person that we actually are is someone that we probably never could have imagined that we would be. And so this is the closing of the door on the life that we don't want. This is the closing of the door on the parts of ourselves who really are still feeling caught up with Lilith being a part of this eclipse, and it being a south node eclipse. This is a really internal moment. This is a really internal process. This is a moment of understanding just how fundamentally important it is to feel a level of balance in life, and a level of balance in how you're approaching, like I've spoken to a lot, this cardinal cross sort of energy that we have, how you're approaching the basic fundamentals of your existence. You know, how are you tending to your emotional self? How are you tending to your own private needs? How are you tending to your relationships and your partnerships? Are you feeling connected with your partnerships? Are you feeling connected with the people around you? Remember that we have Venus in Scorpio at 11 degrees. So we have to understand that the deepest value in life doesn't come essentially from things. You know, Venus is in Scorpio. It doesn't come from what you've accumulated. It comes from the depth of beauty and the depth of connection that you feel with other people. And this is a solar eclipse in Libra. We have to remember that a lot of this is about other people, and I think we're all coming to this collective realization of where we've sort of let other people rule or run the show, in the sense that we have held ourselves back from certain things. We have Judgment coming out. So we've held ourselves back from certain dreams, I think, in life, because we've been afraid of how other people are going to perceive us in the pursuit of it. You know, I'm seeing the pursuit of happiness. I'm seeing, we have the Two of Wands coming out. I'm seeing a dance between, I'm ready to do this, I really want to do this, and then going back into this version of, no, this is the right thing to do, this is the approved way of doing things. You know, one thing about Libra is that it can be very, I don't want to say rigid, but I do want to say very proper. You know, it has this feeling where, you know, Saturn is exalted in Libra. It does like to run by the rule book. And so I feel as though this is a day, this is an eclipse where we're ready to throw out the rule book, in the sense that if it isn't actually making sense, you know, we have to remember Jupiter's in Gemini, is about to go retrograde, and he's in this really beautiful healing connection moment with Chiron. So we have to remember that we really need to think things through. If something doesn't make sense, if a way of being, if a lifestyle, if a way of living doesn't make sense, if it is unbalanced and there is no way of balancing it out, why are you continuing to do it? We have the Tower coming out. So I think a lot of us are going to be going through some strong realizations in our relationships. And I think that the Mercury Cazimi building up into today and into this eclipse has been a realization point for a lot of us, in where maybe the past did have some, you know, I think with all this energy so close to the South Node, I think a lot of us are looking at the past like, well, it was better then. And there are definitely elements of truth to that, but the North Node is in Aries, and it is with Chiron. And we do have Jupiter making that connection with Chiron. And it feels as though this is a process of us having to understand that change is the only thing that's constant. This is cardinal energy. Cardinal energy, like mutable energy, it's not fixed. You know, fixed is the energy that doesn't want to move, it doesn't want to budge. Cardinal energy is the energy that wants to spark things, it wants to start things. This Tower card feels as though there is, you know, it's I think this is a lionfish. I think this is a lionfish, and so it's giving me like royalty, like you needing to see what you want and your desires with that Venus in Scorpio. Venus is the dispositor of this moon because Libra rules Venus, or Venus rules Libra. So we have to remember that Venus is really important in this little dance, and Venus is also building into that beautiful grand trine with Mars and with Saturn. So we are in this positive moment. We have the Knight of Cups. We are in this positive moment if we allow ourselves to see through a level of fallacy, is literally the word that I'm getting. And I feel like it's a smokescreen. You know, I think there's a reason why all this Hollywood stuff is coming out so vividly at the moment. It feels like we're in this moment with the last eclipse happening in Pluto Capricorn, where we're seeing where these masks have really been hiding some really dark stuff with Lilith being there. You know, we also have Uranus, like I've spoken to, being at 26 degrees of Taurus again, which is back on algal territory. So we're dealing with some really dark and really big, powerful energy. And so I feel as though we're with this Tower coming out, and it's really emphasizing, I've never really thought about it, but it's emphasizing this lionfish as being like, you know, that's a really cool looking fish. I feel like a lot of us with all this Libra have been blending in, and we've been trying to blend in to this energy of looking like we're fitting the part, you know, where we want to look like we have it all together. Remember that Libra is aesthetics, so it's what things look like on the outside. Aries doesn't really care too much about the aesthetic. Aries is more of a raw, I'm literally hearing raw dogging it. So, you know, Aries is more of like this raw, just primal, this is how it comes, this is what it looks like sort of energy. And with Chiron being there, a lot of us are feeling identity wounds. You know, we're feeling the way we look isn't the best. I think a lot of us are dealing, and that's the thing with Libra as well, we are dealing with this shift in who we are, and this understanding that we might need to make some changes with Venus being in you know, Scorpio. And these changes are long-term things with the grand trine with Saturn and Mars. It's about thinking about things from the long term and understanding, you know, you are a beautiful specimen. You are a beautiful, unique, incredibly attractive and well sought after, you know, you are someone who people love. You have a lot of love around you. You know, this moon is about understanding how much love we have around us. And then we have the Hanged One. So this moon is about reflection. You know, we're really having to reflect on who we are and who we've become. The Knight of Cups, it's about reflecting on the dreams that maybe you haven't gone for. Maybe you've been too afraid to go for it with Lilith being there. Mercury. Mercury's really close to the sun at this point, and he's off that cazimi, so he's starting to sort of feel a bit burned up. So we're having difficulty seeing through the fog and the confusion, and I think we're having difficulty finding a balance at the moment. We cannot forget that we have Neptune at 28 degrees of Pisces. We have Saturn in Pisces as well, and Saturn is quite turned on this week with the connection to Mars and to Venus that's building. So it's a beautiful time to clear out the cobwebs, is really the energy. And that's why Chiron, I think, is in this lovely connection at the same time with Jupiter, because it feels like as Jupiter gets ready to go retrograde and things start to feel even heavier than I think they've already been feeling, because the thing is, Jupiter's going to retrograde and he's going to come back and he's going to square with Saturn again. So that's why we're sort of building into realizing that there is this heaviness, the High Priestess at the bottom of the deck. So we can feel that there is this heaviness, we can feel this weight, we can feel that something's sort of brewing, or this change is brewing, or this, I just heard the word expose, so I feel like there's this like exposition, I think, that's coming out. We have the Tower, like look at these cards, really. We have the Tower, the Hanged One, and the High Priestess. So we know that at the moment, I feel like there is a calm. I feel like we're almost in the eye of the storm over this eclipse. And so I feel like we're needing to face the fact that storms happen and we can't always control them. This is about not always being fully in control, and with Mars being in Cancer in this connection with Saturn and Venus, it's about realizing that your emotions, as deep as they are, need to have a level of structure to them, a level of patience is a word that I'm hearing with that connection to Pisces and Saturn. It's about understanding that you need to be patient with yourself if you're going through something really heavy, you know, if you're going through something that is really tough, or you're going through something that's overwhelming, then give yourself grace at this time. Give yourself an opportunity to rest and to see what it is that you need. You know, your body is important. We've just come out of that really, I just heard the word hollow, that hollow feeling Virgo season where it was just, I'm seeing like a woodpecker, like just literally pecking at a tree. So it feels like a lot of us, we're feeling like we've just been pecking at a tree, and we've just been, it's feeling very mundane, and that's what this energy does feel like. It's like there's so much going on. We're going through some of the biggest changes of our lives, but it feels so mundane. It feels so everyday. It feels like, you know, everything's changing, but nothing's changing at the same time. You guys know what I'm talking about, like that annoying feeling. We have the Four of Wands at the bottom of the deck in the reverse. So I think a lot of us are struggling as well with the feeling of not feeling like we actually have very much to celebrate. I think we have the Hermit coming out as our first archetype. It says, seeks solitude to focus intently on inner life and serves personal creativity. I think that that's the thing. A lot of us are needing to maybe serve our creativity a little more, because we have just come out of that, like I said, very hollow feeling. I went to say mundane season. So we've come out of that very hollow Virgo season, and we've really felt those oppositions with Saturn and with Neptune, and we're feeling really quite, I don't want to say disconnected from our dreams, we're feeling like it's far away. Like, yes, we can see it, we can feel it, we can kind of smell it, and we can kind of taste it, but we can't touch it yet. It's not physical, it's not tangible. And I think a lot of us are going through these internal shifts and reckoning moments within ourselves, and then we've been feeling them for a long time. Like I said, we always have to look back to the past with astrology, to the cycles that have come before the cycle that we're currently in. So if we think back to 2004 and 2005, the nodes were around these signs. You know, we had North Node Aries then again, and so we have to think, what was happening for us then? And that's what this Hanged One is here for in this Tower. You're being really called into, we're all being really called into looking into the past a little bit to understand how we can build a healthier lifestyle. Where did we go wrong then? Because we have an opportunity now to close the door on that, to close the door on where we might have fucked up. Pluto's at 29 degrees of Capricorn. He's been there since 2008. We're done with this. This is the end. Once he leaves Capricorn this time, I think it might be in October, November. Sorry guys. Not too sure on that, but we'll get into that in the next daily horoscopes and stuff. So we have to understand that we are at this major culmination point, and it feels extremely internal because these outer planets are internal feelings. Like all three of these planets are on the cusp at the edge. 29 degrees Capricorn, 28 degrees Pisces, 26 degrees of Taurus. you know, and so now my washing machine's going off. There are things that we need to tend to. There are things that we need to look at within ourselves. We need to face and clean things up, you know. I just have face the music, and now I'm hearing dance to the music, and I'm seeing the last bit of Shrek. So it's like you have to go through all of that hardship in order to get to the end and have the big celebration point. You know, you can't just get to the celebration. There has to be that sort of process. It's how every story works in life. It's how life works. So the shadow attributes of the Hermit is withdraws from society out of a fear or negative judgments of others, refusing to help those in need. And that's exactly what we were talking about with Judgment coming out and all this Libra energy. It's about not getting stuck in other people's opinions and not getting stuck in these beliefs that you need to fit into somebody else's box. Your box is your own to create, and that's what this North Node in Aries with Chiron there is about, and the Jupiter connection there this week. It's about understanding that you are the creator of your reality, in the sense that what do you want to do? You can live any life that you choose to live. You have free will, in the sense that astrology is obviously, you know, helping move all of these moving parts along, but like you're the one in control of your thoughts. You're the one in control of deciding, well, you know what, I am going to take that plunge. And by plunge, I mean you're finally going to accept that you're ready to be you. And I think that that's what all this Libra is about, us understanding that we need to start facing the fact that we haven't been ourselves. We've been hiding masks away, and that's why this Hermit is here. This is doing the internal work over this new moon and seeing where the work we do on ourselves is probably the most important work we actually do in this life, because that work that we do on our emotional bodies, on our emotional selves, is absolutely going to fundamentally grow us into such... That's the thing with Saturn being there, high functioning. It's about understanding to function at a really high level in all this water, you know, grand water trine, at the same time as we have a T-square building in cardinal energy. So we're trying to start new things, but at the same time things are feeling very messy, and things are feeling very, you know, you can't hold water. It flows through your hands. So we're not able to make anything tangible and solid yet, and that's difficult. So we're having to really rely on spiritual awareness at the moment, and our emotional intelligence is the key to unlocking this new life. And that's what a lot of this energy feels like to me, that's been building up over this eclipse, is unlocking the key to a new life by closing the door and burying the old life, you know, letting that go, letting it be what it is. I'm seeing The Fault in Our Stars, and I'm seeing that funeral scene at the end. And so it is about laying something to rest, even if you never really wanted to bury that thing, even if you never wanted to let go of a certain way of being or a certain way of doing things or a certain lifestyle or a certain habit. There's a sadness to that, but there's an acceptance at the same time that life goes on and life is what it is. And if you get caught up in the emotional way of dealing with things, if you get caught up emotionally being too afraid to deal with what it is that's coming up for you, if you can't face the reality, that's when we start to lose ourselves. And so that's what this Jupiter connection at the same time as this moon is understanding that it's really important to be facing the shadows. And when I say shadows, facing the parts of us that feel wounded, you know, our triggers, our things that we get upset about, the things that are, and especially when it comes to relationships, especially when it comes to our one-on-one personal close relationships, the deep connections. Do we feel deeply connected to the people close to us? That's a really good tester. How are you feeling? Do you feel alone at the moment? That's North Node Chiron, feeling like people don't understand us, you know, that judgment thing. Then we have the child nature coming out as our last card. The light attributes is friendships with animals, communication with nature spirits. Shadow attribute is a tendency to abuse animals, people, and the environment. And so this is really about connecting back in with the innocence and the God source within you, because when I think of animals, I think of innocence and nature and truth and just, you know, just beauty and also the rawness of life. And so we are needing to understand that life is something to nurture and something to really see. I just saw this nature say nurture. So it really is about holding our selves close to our heart. And the thing is, that's why the sun is in fall in Libra. And I've said this before, but when the sun is in Libra, it's focused too much on the external. It's focused too much on everybody else. What we're needing to do with the sun being here, and as we have this closing out eclipse in Capricorn, our final ever eclipse with Pluto and Capricorn, we're needing to understand that our achievements don't define our success. We define it through the way we are emotionally relating to ourselves. How do we feel? You know, that's why Cancer and Capricorn is on an axis. Because if you are successful but you feel like shit, you're not successful. That's not the definition of success. You need to define for yourself what a true successful life looks and feels like. And I think with this nature child coming out, or it says friendships with animals, communication with nature spirits, communicating to the divine, communicating to nature. I think that we forget, you know, water is nature. I think that we forget that nature has such a beautiful message for us if we are actually willing to listen. Going out and spending 10 minutes outside under the trees when you're having a really stressful day and not listening to a podcast, not listening to music even, not listening to anything, and actually spending time just listening to the sound of the trees or the sound of the birds is going to bring you so close to harmony. If you have a pet, you know, being with that pet and cuddling with that pet and understanding just the true value in the relationships that we even have with animals, you know what I mean? That deep connection is not just with people, it's with animals as well. It's with everything in life. I feel like when we look at relationships, everything is a relationship. You know, you have a relationship to your work, you have a relationship to your hobbies, you have a relationship to, you know, your food. There's so many things that really we do actually have to think about our relationships with and how we want to nurture them. And so I feel like this is really a moon about learning to nurture ourselves fundamentally without having to have it look perfect on the outside and have to fit a perfection. Like, perfectionism is going to be the death of us at this point. And that's the thing, we've really been painted this picture by Hollywood and by this Neptune in Pisces, and with the rise of social media and influencers and all these things, we've really been taught to value the external projection and validations and perceptions of other people and what they think is best for us or what they think we should be doing at, and even just society projecting onto us where we should be at a certain age and all these things. It's about defining that for yourself at this point and not letting the world crush you with how loud it is, all this noise, you know. It's about letting yourself have moments of quietude. That's what this Hermit and this Hangman is about with the High Priestess and the Tower. Like, we're going to be almost forced into moments of quiet, I think, over this new moon, over this day, essentially, over these few days. It feels like this is the moment where it's like, okay, I really need to start facing this. I need to look at this. I can't ignore it for a second longer. So my loves, I'm going to leave that reading there. I do hope that you enjoyed this. Make sure you check out the full horoscope of the eclipse if you feel like delving deeper into this energy. I go extremely deep on that one. We go through a bunch of old charts back in the day and things like that, because that is my jam. If you enjoyed this video, if it resonated with you, please do give it a thumbs up, because that really does help to spread my videos to other beautiful souls like yourself who are really into astrology and are living the dope astro life. I don't really know what that was, so I apologize. Make sure you check out your channeled songs. If you would like to book a personal tarot or astrology reading with me, you can do that down below through the link to my link tree. I would like to thank your angels, your ancestors, your higher self, your spirit guides, all the beautiful benevolent beings that are surrounding you and I in all moments, for allowing me to receive and to deliver this message to you guys. Thank you so much for sticking around. Let me know in the comments if you have anything that you want to share, any suggestions, anything that's going on. I would love to hear from you. Big love to you all, and I will see you in the next reading. Peace.